We will call to order the Board of Elections Commissioners for the City of Chicago regular board meeting for June 14, 2016. It is 9:15 a.m. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. Seated to my right is Commissioner William Cressy, and to my left is Commissioner Jonathan Swain. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we will proceed with the approval of the special board meeting minutes of May 25th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is the Executive Director's report. Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just let the boards know since our last meeting, a couple of items have happened. One, the AAC had a summit in Washington, D.C. on language accessibility. Just to let the board members know that I was one of the presenters, and it was very interesting. It was televised on the web through all of the EAC programs and to CNN, and it worked very well. And just to let the board members know, we got a lot of kudos for the work that we've done with the EAC also, and with language transparency. So I just want the board members to be aware of that.
And I wanted to thank you because you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
As a presenter.
Thank you.
And I want to second the chairwoman's comments. It was a great job and wonderful PowerPoint slides, and I may put you on board next time I need to do
Don't put me on board. It was Jim Allen and Trish Sheehy that did all the work. We were sitting crouched over a computer saying, yeah, no, no, yes. So it worked very well. And I want to thank both of them for all their work on this PowerPoint. The second item was on June 8th, Equip for Equality had their 30th year celebration. They've been in existence for 30 years. I was invited to their celebration. Zena, the president or the chairwoman of the organization, said a lot of nice accolades about this board and about us working with the disability community. So I wanted the board members to be aware of that. We've done well. We still have a long way to go. So we're still going to partnership with other community groups to get our word out, and also help with accessibility and voting. So I want the board members to be aware of that. To add to that, our community service department is going out to Access Chicago. That's July 13th at Navy Pier, and I know Geneva, you're going to be part of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can say something behind the camera. It's
Okay.
all right. But it's something that we've been supporting it since it's been in effect. So I wanted the board members to be aware of that. We also have had several meetings with the United States Post Office. We've had two meetings. I told the board members I spoke to the Postmaster General. He got the group here in Chicago. We've had two group meetings. We've had one telephone conference, and hopefully in the next week we should have everything put together. We have in procedures, new envelopes for mailing of the ballots and returning the ballots to us. And I think everybody has heard us, and I think we'll have a real good vote by mail program. So I'd let the board know that. Jim, do you have anything to add on that?
We're encouraged by the advice they're giving us and the promises they're making about postmarking return envelopes, but given our experiences in recent elections, we're not exactly holding our breath. But as far as the process goes, we think we can simplify it by avoiding business reply and going with a standard postage. It's just a matter of figuring out how to design that piece to have standard postage on it for the return piece, with the requirements that they also have for certain markings, vertical lines. So design issue at this point, so hopefully we can get that ironed out.
We spoke to the regional manager, and they're working on it. Hopefully get with us within the next week.
Will there be any substantial change in cost of postage using standard postage versus business reply?
Yes and no. So we'll be putting postage on each envelope that may or may not be used, and then we have to try to go back and recover that. So it's a slight increase, but if it results in fewer voters being disenfranchised, we think the cost, whether it's in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $10,000, far outweighs, the benefits far outweigh the cost.
And business reply is a little bit more expensive than standard postage per item?
No, business reply is more cumbersome in terms of the processing because it has to go through a process where they're checking it and verifying it against your permit and measuring its weight and everything else, even though all 50 envelopes with ballots weigh the same thing. So we found that that was their explanation for why we were seeing so many delays. The delays seem to have been increasing in recent elections, so that was the explanation they provided us.
But the other thing is that we're not paying, with us putting postage on it, we're not paying a handling fee. So that way,
So
we'll
you save
reduce it
that.
some. But what's great about this, that we will have our own bin. Now, just think the machine has 500 bins where the mail drops in. The Chicago Board of Election will have its own bin, and we will have 2 pickups a day from the main post office. So I think we will see a lot better return on our money, though, doing it this way.
And I imagine we have a very high rate of return on mail. So there'll be relatively few unused envelopes.
It's a pretty high return rate, but it
Yeah.
depends on how many people wait until election day to not use their, so they return it, but they return it in person at the polling place, and then they cast a ballot in person. So there are variations.
They're pretty much the one.
I think so. I think
And
so.
I think, I am especially proud of our jurisdiction and the fact that we do provide the voters with the envelope, return envelope, and the postage to return the ballot. There are so many jurisdictions out there that don't provide either. And, we take this very seriously, and it's all part of, getting our voters to come out and vote whichever way they would like. Anything else, Mr. Goff?
Nope, that's all I have from report members right now.
Ms. Bateman?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nothing really to add to Mr. Goff's report, just again, staff is working. Registration department, I say it every single time, continually working, finishing off many projects from Election Day. Warehouse is still cleaning out ESCs and working on equipment. IT is busy. We are, reviewing the voter registration, the VRXG program, and making improvements to it. Community Services is busy this summer with outreach events. The election judges, there's a recommission period now this election, so getting new applications from every individual who wants to serve as a judge, so that's being worked on. Absentee, I know they're working on the UACAVA program for military ballots and overseas ballots, so everyone's working. It's a busy summer.
And now, Mr. Allen?
Not much to add other than we're updating all of the web content. We have all of the English pages, and now we're working on the translations to Spanish, Chinese, Polish, and Hindi. The only exceptions are early voting and grace period. We're holding off until we know the final schedule because there's a bill that the governor may or may not sign that will affect that schedule. We still need to work with the campuses to determine how and when we may offer early voting on a limited basis at locations such as the University of Chicago and Loyola, in addition to University of Illinois at Chicago, Northeastern and Chicago State. And as Lance mentioned, we've got meetings going on with the Postal Service. And that's it for now.
We'll go on with the agenda and old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration. Do we have anything right now? I think
Not while we're in the middle of this upcoming election.
I think we've addressed it
Yes, we
as far
have.
as we can right now. Electronic poll books?
Just moving forward with improvements, just working to get it ready for November.
What, if I may, was there going to be a test and the system of whether it had the real-time reporting on turnout during election day?
We're still waiting on a progress update on that. It has not worked in the past. They've yet to show anything. They've said there's going to be a test using all of the data from the primary to show us how it would work. We've received nothing from them yet.
Is there anything else with respect to voting equipment at this time?
We are putting together a request for information. We're still working on that with the county clerk's office.
And the anticipation for the new voting equipment will be for 28, primary in 2018?
2018, that's what we're going to push for.
And legislation?
Madam Chairwoman and the Commissioners, I think at the last meeting, I outlined two bills that were subsequently adopted by both houses in the General Assembly. Senate Bill 250, which provides for automatic voter registration, and Senate Bill 1529, which is an omnibus bill, covers a number of different issues. Both of those bills have now been sent to the governor. So you have 60 days to sign them or veto them. So we'll have to wait to see what the governor does with them.
And could you refresh, these my recollection, on the automatic voter registration, just presume that it is either signed into law or what have you. Implementation time on that, how does that affect our kind of flow of things?
A lot of it is not implemented until January of 2018.
2018, okay.
Right. There are some parts of the bill that requires action this year if approved, and that is a part of the bill that requires the state board and the so-called designated state agencies to collect and share data in their respective databases with respect to individuals who may be qualified to vote. And I know the State Board of Elections had indicated its concerns that that part of the bill may not be ready to be implemented by that time, and especially given the fact that there's questions of whether or not they have sufficient appropriations to implement the bill. But by and large, the other aspects of the bill will not kick in until January of 2018.
Okay.
Mr. Scanlon, on the omnibus bill, did that retain the provision that in looking at vote by mail ballots coming in, whether or not they're to be counted, we look first at the postmark, and if there's no postmark, we can have the ability to look at the smart barcode, and then only if those two are missing, we look at the data certification. Correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay, there are no further questions. We'll move on to new business, and we have a professional services agreement between the Board of Election Commissioners and Sarita Villarreal. And Sarita has been with us for 2 or 3 years? 3.5, okay. Sarita has provided certain invaluable services for the board, including advising the board on the board's responsibilities under the Voting Rights Language Assistance Act, and providing voting information to members of the Spanish-speaking community, and serving as a liaison to the Hispanic Advisory Committee on issues relating to the needs of Spanish-speaking individuals, and also as a representative of the board to the Hispanic media. This agreement would be for the period commencing July 1st, 2016, and expiring on June 30th, 2017, at the rate of $35 an hour, not to exceed the total sum of $70,000 over the term of this agreement. Is there anything else that I should add, Mr. Scanlon or Mr. Goff?
No.
And I just want to say that I have been to many events with Ms. Villarreal, and she's invaluable to this board and to the Spanish-speaking community. So she does a great job. Are there any questions with regard to this agreement, proposed agreement? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And Sarita, I look forward to working with you this coming year. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the legal report.
Madam Chairwoman and Commissioners, the only thing that I have to add as far as activity is that on the case of Amani versus the State Board of Elections, the board has filed a motion to dismiss. The motion was filed and presented. A briefing schedule has been set, and the matter is next scheduled for hearing on the motion to dismiss on August 2nd.
Is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. There is no financial report, and so we will proceed to public comment. Mr. Olson, how are you today? Nice to see you. Good.
I just have some quick questions.
Mhm.
As far as the review of the 5% audit, what is the timetable for that now? Because originally, the contract was supposed to be awarded today.
We could not do it. Laurel is in charge of purchasing. We had one oral report, and we have 2 oral reports on Wednesday. So as soon as the staff reviews that, then they will give recommendations.
Okay, so when will that contract be awarded? Do we have a date?
We do not have a date right now.
Okay. Probably at the next board meeting?
It may very well be.
We may not have a board meeting on the 28th of June. It'll probably be the board meeting, a special board meeting in July.
That's right. We will not
Right.
have that.
So it's probably be in sometime in
So
July.
that's certainly limiting the time they have to do this study. Because I think in the proposal, it's supposed to be done by September 1st. Is that correct?
That is what the RFP
Or-
indicates, yes.
yeah, and I think it'll, once we, the 3 companies are all qualified to do that, and they don't see that being an issue.
One of my concerns about that is that they'll be coming in to do this study, but they won't ever have actually seen a 5% audit. Could we include in this study that they actually come back in November and view the actual 5% audit while it's happening?
Well, I think I think we will be discussing, these are professionals, and they understand how to look at a process, the procedures, how they will get a very
No, I
well-rounded
understand that,
understanding.
but looking at it in the abstract.
And we
kind
could,
of-
we'll just see how things progress and see what their recommendations are, and As I told you before, you're certainly welcome to make suggestions. And I would encourage you to submit that suggestion in writing so they could review it and look at it, okay?
And are there
Could I
plans?
add to it, just to, also to let you know, Mr. Olson, you know, the county clerk of Cook County, they use the same audit procedures we do, the
Right.
exact same audit procedure. So they're interested in that also.
Okay.
And because I can certainly understand your thinking here, but again, these are professionals, they'll understand the procedures, we'll show them the space and such. And we want to be able to implement their suggestions in time for the next election, so, you know, we certainly will see how those suggestions work out once we have them implemented.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm suggesting that, you know, of course they'll have their suggestions, but that part of this project be that they actually come to watch the audit in November to see what their comments are at that point, as far as whether their suggestions were followed through on, or whether they see other problems.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll take that certainly into consideration. And as I said, I would appreciate if you would
Okay.
submit that.
One more question is, are the poll watchers who made their complaints about the 5% audit definitely going to be included in this process?
Well, as I told you, what I said previously is we would welcome their comments and their suggestions, their complaints, their criticisms. I would welcome that in writing for submission to the auditors. All of that will be submitted to the auditors, and they'll have the opportunity
Okay.
to, yes.
And I imagine the submissions that they've already sent in will also be provided. to
Yes, they
them,
will.
so
Yes, they
we've
will.
already received
I
it.
think you already said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
If there is no further public comment, Mr. Scanlon, is there any need for executive session?
No,
No, Madam Chairman.
Okay. If not, then we will not be having a meeting on June 28th. Mr. Goff, is there a need for a meeting before July 12th?
I would like to, if at all possible,
Mhm.
the board members can check their schedules.
Okay. That would not be a problem. I'm sure we can figure out a meeting. I will be here on July 1st. So,
For me, the July 1st through the 5th are not good.
okay.
So anytime the 6th, 7th, or 8th works for me.
Is the 6th, 7th, or 8th good for you?
Probably, I will have a problem later in July, but those dates should be fine.
Okay. Well, Mr. Goff, we can schedule
We scheduled July 6th.
July 6th is fine.
Could we do,
Or the 7th, is that better for you?
no, the 6th is fine. Actually, 6th is better. If we could do it at 10 o'clock versus 9.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great.
Is there a motion to adjourn until?
And just to clarify, electoral board in between that, is that correct or no?
It's possible, but, you know, we'll have to wait to see what happens today.
Okay.
And we'll have a better idea, and I'll certainly try to reach out to the commissioners and
Okay.
give them some sense of timing on that.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn until Wednesday, July 6th at 10 a.m.?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.